Hey everybody, it's your boy Big L PhD. It's your boy Big L PhD. Thanks so much for checking out this video. Some people were asking me, or somebody was asking me about other content, my social media handles and all that. I did a lot of stuff on TikTok, cptlhunter, Instagram, cptlhunter. I used to do midweek check-ins, things like that. I may start doing that again. It seemed to be fairly popular. For me, I'm not a big YouTuber or anything, so maybe I'll get back to that. But anyway, you can check those out. cptlhunter. Check out some other stuff that I've done. So I did a video about social media destroying your self-esteem. But I want to take a look at it from a different angle here, and I want to talk about getting your validation from social media, and that being setting you up for failure. Social media is setting you up for failure, and I don't mean the occasional social media. I do social media for work. Really, it's for my business, trying to grow my brand, branding models and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's really the reason that I have it, right? So, but you got to understand that it has the ability to be a very, very powerful force for good. People can use it in substitution for websites, right? Instead of paying, $100 or so or whatever it is for a year for a website that you got to constantly update and make sure all the links are working to this part, to that part, and all this, right? You can have a website, get your name out by word of mouth, start a podcast, start a blog, and really, kind of blow up in that particular way as well. However, it can set you up for failure. It can set you up for failure. It can create unrealistic expectations. It can create unrealistic expectations. Big O, what are you talking about? It is well known, psychological literature, that too much adult movies, let me put it that way, too much adult movies makes you desensitized to the real thing, right? You become incapable of performing, males I'm talking about, becomes desensitized. I even think, I've heard this, I don't know if I can't remember actually reading the literature on it, but even ladies, sometimes if you're, to put it bluntly, kind of buzzing too much, right, you can become desensitized to that. And the point is that desensitized to the real thing, because nobody can keep up with that's the fake feelings, right? There's emotions and hormones and all the different types of chemicals that are released when the big O happens, right? So, and the point is that nobody can keep up with that pace. Nobody can keep up. Nobody can do it that way. They can't. It just can't be done. And when you do that in excess, you are setting yourself up for failure. You are setting yourself up for failure. And the same thing can happen with social media. If you are living in a social media world, if you're living in a social media bubble, if you're living in a social media climate where all that you're doing is built and based on social media, then you're going to set yourself up for failure in the real world. Nobody can actually keep up with the amount of attention that a beautiful woman can get. So if you're a beautiful woman and you're posting, these thirst trap pictures, and your DMs are constantly flooded, you make yourself inaccessible to a real relationship, because no man can give you that much attention. To the moment you can click it on, you can just open up your app, your inbox, and there's hundreds of messages. I can't give you that much attention in a day. I can't give you that much attention. Same thing with the other adult movie problem that many men are suffering from. Can't give you that. No woman is going to feel like it all the time. They're not going to be in the mood. You can have a different woman every day. By the movies, you can be watching a different movie every day. And this is a problem. This is a problem. Are you getting your validation from social media? And you really got to take a look at that. You really got to take a look at that. And there's programs about talking about the dangers of this and how the brain gets hijacked and all that concerning the adult movies. And they have detox programs and no FAP and all this kind of stuff. And I think that we've got to take the same approach when it comes to social media, to detox from social media. So, some of the stuff is obviously funny. I watch some Instagram stuff, and sometimes I run straight to the comments because it's hilarious, right? It's funny in the videos, right? The comments that are done there. But if you're getting your validation from it, if you're getting your self-esteem is coming from that, and if you are looking for these dopamine hits for somebody to tell you that you're beautiful, that you're smart, that you're witty, that you're attractive, that you have value, that you have worth from complete strangers, then I think that this is problematic. And it sets you up for failure because in real life, you're going to have conflicts with your boss. You're going to have conflicts with your family. You're going to have conflicts with your boyfriend, with your husband. You're going to have conflicts with your girlfriend. You're going to have conflicts with other people, right? And it can be self-destructive behaviors that we begin to be involved in. People leave their wives over this. People leave their husbands over this, thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. People leave their families over this because they think that the grass is greener on the other side. People leave their jobs because they think the grass is greener on the other side. And listen, sometimes we can make a lot of money, but it's quick money and it's easy money, and it can be destroying. It can be soul crushing and destroying when we start setting ourselves up for these types of events. If you're going to do that kind of stuff, right, whether it's OnlyFans or whatever, right, you really should have some type of game plan, some kind of 5-year plan that you're not going to do this forever. Maybe it's a quick money hit. You got to really got to think about that. And alongside of that is you got to think about the long-term consequences of social media. Maybe I'll do another video about that. Maybe I'll set that for another time. But what are the long-term consequences of posting on social media? The long-term consequences of social media. So, are you getting your validation from social media? Are you getting your validation from social media? Ask yourself that. I'm not there with you, right? I'm not in your mind, but do you look forward to opening up your inbox and seeing it flooded with constant appraisals? Are you disappointed when you click on it and you only have, you put out a video, you put out a picture, and you only get 20 likes instead of the 100, 200, 300, right? I know this has all been talked about before. There's been research about this. People have deleted themselves over this, which it's a question that continually needs to be asked. And sometimes we got to revisit these things. We got to continue to revisit these things and try to figure out where we are, where we stand, and what we're doing, because we can always slide backwards. Can always slide backwards. We made progress as a community, as a person, as a society, but sometimes we can slide backwards because it's easy, because we don't remind ourselves, we don't think about it. So I'm asking you to think about it. Where do you get your validation? Where do you get your validation from? If nobody tells you that they love you, do you love you? If nobody tells you that you're important, that you're smart, that you're beautiful, that you're handsome, that you're sexy, that you're a valuable member of the organization, valuable member of the team, do you know that you are? Have you made yourself valuable? Have you taken the steps to make yourself valuable to the organization? I used to tease my family about that, right? You take some organizational management classes, right? You think you know everything, right? I used to ask them, what's your contribution to the family? I used to ask my kids that. What's your organization to the family? My daughter she'd crack me up. What's your organization? What are you providing this family? Oh, I'm feeding you guys. So Where do you get your validation from? Are you getting your validation from social media? It's setting you up for failure. Because reality eventually is going to set in. Whether it's on your job, whether it's in school, whether it's in romantic relationships, whether it's with familial dynamics, it's going to set in. The real world is there. The real world is there. You know, you date somebody because you hit somebody up and you meet them, and right, there's a reason that they say don't meet your heroes, right? There's a reason that they say it. There's a reason that they say don't meet your heroes, because you meet these people and they're jerks. They're jerks. They're not nice, right? So you meet some beautiful woman, right? After she's gotten what she wanted from you, whether it's money or your time or whatever. These people, they have no personalities. They're not fun to be around. They're not funny. It's setting you up for failure. Social media can set you up for failure. You leave your family. You leave your job. You drop out of school. You detour your life for some reason to follow some pipe dream, and it can. Of course, there's instances where people make out. Of course, there are. But it's that long term. It's the long term that really matters. So that's all I want to say. You know, I just want you to think about where you get your validation from. And if you have a loving family, loving children, loving wife, or if you're a young man, young woman with none of that, no family, no life, no family, no wife, no husband, where do you get your validation from? Is it from your friends? Is it from social media? Is it from extended family? Is it from seeking validation through higher education? Where do you get your validation from? Where do you get it from? And if it doesn't come, what is your response to that? Do you pout? Are you mad? Do you slamming doors? Are you feeling bad? Do you want to go hide in your closet because you messed up? Or does it force you to reconnect, to realign, to readjust, to reassess, and to keep going? Where does it come? Where does your validation come from? And what is the response when things are not going right? When you don't get the validation, when you don't get the clicks and the thumbs up and the hellos and the pat on the backs and the attaboys and any other measure of some type of validation. Where does your validation come from, and how do you respond when it's not to your liking? Do you keep going, or do you fall off the horse and cry? Falling off your horse, failing, making mistakes is part of the process. Think about that. Much love and peace, everyone.